Hey, welcome to this free training. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join me today. How local tax firms win. This is the blueprint for getting found before your competitors. And a lot of these strategies are what Amber Sky Marketing uses to help their clients, win their local market. My name is Jeremy Esty, founder of Amber Sky Marketing, director of strategy. And just a couple of things before we get started with this free training. It'll be about 30 minutes. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the contact info at the end of this training to, get a hold of me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. So with that said, let's just get right into it. Here we go. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. Why local visibility matters now, the shift in buyer behavior, the local visibility framework, why most firms don't rank. We'll talk about Google Business Profile Optimization, local SEO essentials. We'll talk about reviews and reputation and how that plays a huge part in your firm's local visibility. We'll talk about local service ads. We'll talk about pairing all of this together for a winning combo. I'll give you an example of lead flow. We'll talk about where your firm could possibly sit right now and a little checklist. And then I'll give you a 90-day growth plan. How does that sound? So let's get right into it. Here we go. So who is Amber Sky Marketing? I'll go through this really quickly. Amber Sky Marketing was established in 2018 after I merged a previous web development company with another web and marketing agency. We started out for the first couple of years as a generalist agency, but we soon realized that being a generalist was hard to scale. So we decided to just focus in on one niche, that was the accounting space, because when we were trying to make that decision, we were working with a number of accounting firms at the time, and we saw the opportunity that was going on within the industry. And of course, with CAS and the advisory space coming to the forefront, we just thought that it was a good fit for what we were trying to do. And so since 2020, we've been solely focused on the accounting space. We have narrowed that down even more. And now we work specifically with tax firms. And so we provide local done-for-you solutions using the tactics that you'll learn today. We don't deliver custom solutions, although the approach differs from firm to firm, if that makes sense. And so we're a client acquisition company that helps local tax firms escape low margin 1040 burnout. And myself and Amber Sky, we've been featured in many top CPA publications and podcasts. Just to name a few: Accounting Today, TX CPA, Oregon CPA, the Washington State CPA Society. I've been a guest on the Unique CPA podcast, and also the CFO Chronicles podcast. All right, let's get right into it. So why local visibility matters now more than ever. Over 90% of local service buyers start on Google before anything else. Something to keep in mind. Your Google business profile and Google Maps are now your firm's first impression. I just want to highlight how important that is. When people search tax accountant near me, the firms who appear first, they essentially win the business. It's that simple. And it's not theory. This is how real behavior shows up in real time online these days. So if you're not showing up in those top 3 maps results, your competitors are getting the calls you should have received. And this isn't just about maps, but it extends into a number of the other strategies we'll be talking about. But you can deliver the best service in the state, in your local area. It doesn't matter how good your firm is. If Google doesn't show you or give you visibility, nobody knows about you. And if you're not leveraging Google for new clients, you are leaving a lot of opportunities on the table. So let's talk about the shift in buyer behavior, because today's buyers have made most of their buying decisions before they ever visit your website. Referrals and word of mouth are not enough these days to rely on as your main client acquisition strategy. They're a good channel to have and you want to keep those in place, but relying on them as your main source is inconsistent, puts a lot of risk on your firm, which is why you have to add some more avenues in there to ensure that you have more consistency with, better quality conversations coming into your firm. The Google Map Pack is the new homepage, if you will. And if you don't show up there, you're pretty much invisible. And your competitors who do, they're taking your clients. I can't stress how important it is to be featured in the Map Pack and, featured high in Google's search results. Proximity plus relevance plus credibility is how Google's algorithm has their decision framework set up. And so consumers are trusting Google's rankings more than, some marketing claims these days, and for good reason. Businesses call accounting firms every day because they come across them on Google. So if you're not ranking in Google, you're not even in the race. So let's talk about the local visibility framework. This is the framework that we implement for our clients. And I'll take you through it step by step. And here we go. So the Google, so essentially your Google business profile needs to be optimized because your GBP, this is the foundation of local visibility. A well-optimized Google business profile, it tells Google who you serve and it gets you into the right searches. The second piece to this is local service ads, or LSA. These things are absolutely crushing it right now because this is the fastest win you could probably have in regards to getting calls and inquiries. LSAs place you at the top of Google with pay per lead pricing, and they generate immediate calls and inquiries while your maps and SEO foundation grows in the background. So when we have these conversations with local tax firms, we essentially, when we start working with them, we want to get them, wins almost immediately. So we get them set up with local service ads, we get them those calls, and then we start working on their long-term strategy, which is built around local SEO and getting ranked in Google Maps, which we'll talk about. So the third piece to this is the Google Maps piece. This is where buying decisions happen. So ranking in the top 3 puts your firm in front of high intent local searches that are ready to call. The fourth piece is local SEO. This builds your long-term authority because strong local SEO, it signals help Google, strong local SEO signals, they help Google rank your website for high intent accounting searches in your city and area. And then, of course, the reputation piece, which I think a lot of people miss. Reviews are your credibility driver. They are super important. Having consistent, high quality reviews, they boost your rankings and conversion rates and making it easier for your prospects to choose you. So just to put things into perspective, if you were searching for a local service on Google and you came across 2 Google business profiles, one had maybe, 1 review and the other one had 200 reviews and they were all pretty much 5-star. Which one are you picking? Probably going to pick the one with more reviews, right? And so that's one of the reasons why reputation and reviews are so important. So to simplify this, if I can, LSA is the spark. That's what starts getting you conversations in the door. And then your search engine optimization of your web pages and getting ranked in maps are the fire that keeps on burning, because with LSAs, you can stop them at any time. And with your SEO stuff, they can still keep working in the background. But we'll talk more about that with this training. So let's talk more specifically about the Google Business Profile, your GBP. This is what your GBP looks like. And if we compare it to Google Maps listings, where I'm sure this screenshot looks familiar. So when you click on, let's say, a Google Map listing, your Google Business Profile shows up, right? And there's calls to actions on it. You've got reviews here and so on, all right? And so this is, like I said, the foundation of your online presence for Google. And the crazy thing about it, it's absolutely free, yet there's a lot of firms who are not utilizing it. And so just your Google Business Profile alone, if you don't do anything else but optimize it, you can essentially see some good results. So like I said, it's the foundation of local visibility. Your Google Business Profile determines whether Google understands who you serve and what searches you should appear for. Your GBP directly influences Google Maps rankings, making it one of the highest impact assets for local tax firms. Categories, services, reviews, photos, consistent posting activity all send ranking signals that Google uses to decide who shows up in the top 3. And so if we contrast this to a poorly optimized Google Business Profile, it keeps you invisible. Even if you have the best firm in the world, it doesn't matter. Google doesn't know that. And so, just because you have an amazing firm, but you don't have anything optimized on Google, Google just dismisses you essentially because they don't even know you're there. So when optimized correctly, your GBP turns local searches into calls. It gives accurate directions in case people want to show up to your brick and mortar firm if you have one. And it essentially, attracts website clicks without paying for clicks. And like I said, setting up your Google Business Profile, it's absolutely free. Your GBP is the foundation for your entire Google ecosystem. And everything that you do within Google should be built around your Google Business Profile, or in fact it is. So now let's talk about local service ads, LSA, as they are called for short. These things are absolutely crushing it right now. They're the fastest way to get local calls. LSA puts you at the top of Google with the Google Screened badge. So you show up even ahead of Google Ads. And when I say Google Screened badge, there's a process you have to go through in order to start running local service ads. You have to get verified by Google. This is a huge trust factor, which is one of the reasons why LSA is working so well, is because once you do get verified, Google sees you as a legitimate business. You get that trust badge on the ad. And so when people see it, like, oh, these guys have been verified by Google, I trust them, let's give them a call. Unlike Google Ads, where you pay for clicks, LSAs are designed so you only pay for real leads, not clicks, right? So with Google Ads, every time somebody clicks your ad, you're paying. Whereas LSAs, every time you get an actual lead, you pay for that lead. And there's a process that you have to go through in the back end of your LSA account to ensure that you are determining, what a good lead and a bad lead is and is not, which we can talk about later on. But something to keep in mind, these are bottom of the funnel buyers, meaning that they have a high purchase intent and they want a tax pro now. They've got like pressing issues and they want solutions for those issues like now. And so if you're looking for, calls, you want more leads in a, pretty fast timeline, LSA will be LSAs will work for you essentially. And so LSAs are your right now engine. SEO and maps are your always on engine, and I'll explain all that as we go on here. Google Maps. So let's talk a little bit more about Google Maps. So I'm sure you've seen this image before or this screenshot before, but this is what, Google Maps looks like. And so when somebody's typing in a local, keyword like tax planning San Diego, for example, this is what shows up. All right. And if you're in the top 3, you're getting all the clicks, the website visits. If somebody clicks into one of these, your Google business profile shows up, like I had shown you in the image prior. All right. That's why having or showing up in Google Maps is super important, because a lot of these local searches, like near me searches, or, a specific service with a city or location attached to it, is very, very important, because that's what a lot of people are using to search for local stuff these days. And so how Google Maps actually ranks firms, let's break this down for you. Google Maps focuses on short location-based searches used by buyers ready to call or visit a tax firm immediately. Google ranks local firms based on 3 factors: relevance, how well your firm matches what someone is searching for. This comes from your categories, services, description, posts, and overall GBP completeness. And distance, how close you are to the searcher. You obviously can't control geography, but you can maximize your visibility radius through stronger relevance and prominence. And then the third factor is prominence, your trust signals. And like we talked about with reviews and reputation, this includes your reviews, your review velocity, website authority, citations, and your overall online reputation. When these signals align, Google sees you as the most credible choice, and your firm's ranking becomes intentional. It's not just luck-based, right? So let's break down why many tax firms aren't even ranking at all. One of the most common issues that I see is the primary category you choose for your Google business profile. It's usually wrong, right? And so let's say that you want to attract tax planning clients or tax clients in general, but your Google business profile category is set to maybe something that's related to risk management, for example, right? When people search for tax planning clients or tax prep in your area, you probably won't show up for those keywords, right? So that's why this is so important, is making sure that your primary category is set correctly, ensuring that your service list is complete. And if it's incomplete or it's missing services, Google isn't able to, pull information based on those keywords, right? So let's say you only have tax prep and tax planning listed as your services, but you're also, doing other types of accounting services. If you don't have those listed, it's pretty hard for you to get seen for the other accounting services that people are searching for. Other reasons why many tax firms aren't ranking is your review count is low and review velocity is essentially non-existent. Like I said, having reviews is huge. That is a big piece to this. And really just ensuring that all of your content on your Google business profile is updated. Photos that are outdated, you have consistent posts, or photos that are outdated, inconsistent, or even irrelevant because maybe you've made some changes to your business. Also having no posts, no updates, no signals of activity. Website not optimized with local tax keywords are also other factors why firms don't get ranked or are visible within Google Maps. These problems are simple fixes, and when fixed, they compound into an increase in ranking visibility. Alrighty, so let's talk about local search optimization. And so when we talk about SEO, essentially what search engine optimization is, it's getting the pages of your website. That's something to keep in mind. Search engines rank pages, not websites as a whole, right? And so it comes down to optimizing those web pages so that they're relevant, so that when people type in specific keywords, your website pages show up at the top of Google organic search. And so if we can look at the Google SERPs, or search engine results pages, if you look at it from a hierarchy standpoint, if you're looking for local services and there's local service ads running, you'll see local service ads, and then you'll see Google, your Google ads, and then you might see some other pieces of information underneath that, some snippets, and maybe some AI stuff. And then underneath that is the organic listings, which you will see here, right? And again, if you're not in the top 3 in the organic listings, the chances of people clicking on your webpage and going to your website is probably pretty slim, which is why, getting ranked in the top 3 positions within Google really moves the needle. So let's break down local search engine optimization. Local SEO focuses on service-based searches tied to a specific city or area used by prospects researching who want to hire, or are essentially researching who they need to hire before they call. And a strategy behind search engine optimization is building optimized web pages for your accounting firm's services, right? Think of them as, mini sales pages, if you will. So let's say you want more tax planning clients, create a tax planning page within your website, make it localized, and you want to basically optimize it to tax planning keywords, because then when people search tax planning or specific tax planning keywords, that page will be optimized enough and Google will then, place it at the top. Whether it's tax planning, 1040 tax prep, IRS resolution, small business tax strategy, whatever it is, you need to optimize those pages on your website. And think of them as your money pages, right? Those are the pages that will, like landing pages. If I go to this page, oh, wow, yes, this is what I need, click call, or let's book, something to set up a conversation. And then adding internal linking and local schema. Local schema is essentially markup that you can add to your organic search listing just to give it a little bit more jazz, essentially. A little bit more information, if you will. I'll give you go back here. So if you look at, you have these call to actions on the bottom of this listing here, or if you look at this Yelp one, having this review thing set up here, how many stars and how many reviews they have, that's all schema markup. So it just adds a little bit more information, makes your local listing or your Google search listing a little bit more detailed, which, will help with conversions and people clicking on it. And then also one piece too, that's not talked about a lot, but ensuring that your NAP, as it's called for short, name, address, phone number, is consistent everywhere. So wherever you have information about your firm online, ensure that the name's consistent, your address is the same, your phone number is the same. I have seen many times where, firms change offices, but yet they don't update their address, or they change their phone number, they don't update their phone numbers. And that's, costing them, ranking. And so anytime you make any changes to that stuff, make sure that it is updated and it's consistent wherever you have that listed online. So if we look at it here from just more of a simple perspective, SEO compounds, and every month you're not building it or working on your online presence, your competitors are. And so you're essentially being left behind. So let's talk about reviews and reputation now. And like I mentioned at the beginning, how important these are. These are what your reviews and reputation look like. And so put yourself in the shoes of you looking for a local service. You go to Google and, you've got some Google business profiles showing up. One has one review, the other has 100 reviews. They're all like 5 stars. Which one are you picking? More likely picking the one that's got the 100 reviews, right? And so this is the exact same thing with your firm. Reviews impact both rankings and conversion. Google rewards review velocity, not just total count. So make it a habit of getting a review from all new and existing clients. And Google makes it super simple. They make getting reviews easy by having an ask for a review feature in your Google business profile. It's a link that you send to clients so they can write a review, and it will automatically add it to your Google business profile. So it makes it really, really easy to, ask for those reviews. Just send your clients an email. Hey, just wondering if I can get a review from you. Here's the link. Just click the link, type the review, and then hit submit, and it'll automatically be added. It's pretty straightforward. Another thing to keep in mind as well is respond to every review, even if it's a negative. Signals trust. It adds credibility, shows your firm is proactive and cares. And it also helps other readers and negative reviewers understand your firm's position on certain things. And for some reason, I've got some music playing in the background. I'm just going to go shut that off. Already, just had to pause that for a second. For some reason, I have a speaker in my office, and I said Google too loud, and it activated a playlist. Alrighty, so getting back to the reviews part of it, respond to every review even if it's a negative one. Signals trust, adds credibility. It shows your firm is proactive and cares. It also helps other readers and negative reviewers understand your firm's position on certain things. And you don't need 300 reviews. You just need consistent reviews. I think that's the name of the game. So now let's look at this from a package perspective, and packaging all this together. This is where you get, the winning combo, so to speak, right? Because your LSA, that's your immediate lead flow. Within 24 to 48 hours of you setting up your LSA and the competition within your local area, you're going to start seeing calls almost immediately from high intent clients, which is key. And it's easy to track your return on your investment. So you're not guessing, how much you spend versus how much you're making from that investment. Your maps equals local dominance. This increases organic calls as well. This also increases trust and authority for your prospects. And then if we look at SEO, this is your compounding visibility over time. This is your long-term moat. Every page becomes an asset. And, let's say you have an SEO campaign running and you get a lot of your pages, to the top of Google. And then let's say you've got too many leads coming in, so you need to stop or back off of it. Well, you know what? Your LSA will stop, but because you've already optimized those pages on your website, you could essentially stop and you're still going to get leads coming in. Of course, if you stop SEO completely, it's so competitive that your competitors will probably leapfrog you, which is why you still need to do it. But just wanted to give you that perspective on how important it is for SEO over the long term. So together, these become a self-feeding acquisition system. And leveraging only one channel, you can have success for sure, but you'll have spikes probably with some inconsistencies. And so pairing all of that together, it gives your firm stability and a consistent client acquisition system. And so here's an example of the lead flow and how it all works together. So your LSA sends you immediate calls. Google Maps catches the near me searches. Search engine optimization and having your optimized web pages will capture those who want to research your firm and, may be ready to purchase. But I think the key here is all those things are great, but at Amber Sky Marketing, how we make that even better and ensuring that you are, getting quality conversations is we utilize a lead filter, and we've built one called SmartFit. It's essentially a tool that your team can use on calls or inquiries, and it determines fit. It uses conditional logic. You put in a few questions, and then based on those answers, it will determine whether or not this client makes sense to, have a better conversation with. So it weeds out bad fit prospects. This is how you control your lead flow, by the way, and book more tax planning advisory conversations. Instead of 1040s or even 1040s, if that's what your firm is looking for. And so to make this even more powerful, you can even add the Google Ads piece to this. So you're ensuring, client flow from all angles, right? And Google Ads is something we can chat more about, but for the sake of this training today, I just wanted to keep it to LSAs, maps, and local search engine optimization. But like I said, this is how firms go from random, just ebb and flow inconsistencies to predictable monthly revenue. So where does your firm sit today? Here's just a quick benchmark checklist. Are you currently running LSAs? Is your GBP optimized correctly? Are you posting weekly? Do you have at least 10 reviews within the last 90 days? Are you ranking in the top 3, whether it's maps or, local search, local organic search? Do you have tax planning service pages? Maybe you want tax prep stuff as well. Do you have, optimized tax prep pages on your website? Here's the kicker though. Most firms score 2 out of 10 here. So this means that there's a massive opportunity. So, by investing in, these strategies, you can basically have local market dominance. And so I want to wrap this up very quickly here. So your local growth plan for the next 30, 60, 90 days. Month 1, launch LSAs. Can't stress the importance of LSAs and how important they are to receiving calls. Fix your Google Business Profile category if it's set up inaccurate. Also add to your service list, and then begin your review engine, as I like to say, and start getting more reviews in your Google Business Profile. Like I said, Google makes it really easy to do that. The second month, build tax planning SEO pages. You want to optimize internal linking, add ongoing GBP content. And then month 3, your maps ranking improvements will start showing, tighten conversion workflows, review LSA lead quality, and optimize. And so I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this free training. Thank you for your time. I know how valuable your time is, and, being an accountant and running an accounting firm, you have a lot on your plate. And so thank you for being here today. And like I said, if you have any questions about what we talked about, feel free just to reach out to me. You can send me an email at hello@amberskymarketing.com. You can also just call me directly as well, or visit the website. I am also very active on LinkedIn, so find me on LinkedIn, and I'm more than happy to have a conversation with you as well. So once again, thank you so much for your time.